Necropolis Rio session 29. Oh, we're getting quite high in the numbers there. So we ended last session with Khufu and Sobek reconvening at the tomb that is somewhat empty now, especially knowing that the nearby favela where your cult's headquarters were, it's more or less deserted. You don't know where your cult is. You know they went down in some of the bolt holes that they have because you instructed them to before anything happened, really. But you know now that the favelas are more or less a battleground between different groups of mortals, some of which are very heavily armed, as well as the city at large in general being a kind of battleground currently between the Caronites of Aristides Borges, the Heartless faction, and another Heartless faction, the Sarahites. You also summoned the esteemed Captain Aguiar from your distant past, your one-time companion, not really so much a cultist. He never really joined your cult, but he was around for a long time. And after he died, he stuck around, and currently inhabits, by some kind of necromantic sorcery, he has come to inhabit a heartless body. And Khufu summoned the good captain to the tomb to address him regarding, well, the box and the mystery surrounding it. As we know that the captain did keep journals during your time together, and you did bring the box with him on his ship to here. The captain has indicated that he has these aforementioned journals that we could go take a look at if you wanted to. He's quite invested, apparently, somehow, in the war between the Heartless factions, but he's agreed to take you to where his stash is. And he has also told you that the stash is where the Braid of the Desert is, the relic that Khufu remembers all the way back from the first turn. So Khufu, ostensibly, if this is true, Khufu could find his own way to the stash as well, but he has agreed to escort you there. So, John, if you have something, you can.
Yeah, so Khufu's basic plan is to get Aristides Borges, got him on the brain, Aguiar, to take us to his stash, see if we can use that to find out where the box is, because we've pretty much reached a decision it needs to be destroyed. If his journal doesn't reveal where it is, or he can't get us there, then, like you say, I'll attempt to follow the mystic road to where the braid is. And I'm hoping, like, once we've got his journal, we can find out where the box is.
So you start out. Captain Aguiar seems quite agitated and tense as you go, but he leads you from the tomb. Let's look at the map here for a bit. So the tomb is in the favela Morra da Babilonia here, and he leads you towards the coast here. It's not that far from the tomb itself, it seems. So this particular, I don't know if it's a peninsula per se, but this part here is not as high a mountainous area as the Sugarloaf Mountain up here, but it is a steep hill at the very least, topped by an old remnants of an old fort, and is called Ponta de Leme. Cape, I've got in my notes here, so maybe it's a cape. So he takes you there, and it is I think we mentioned that it was morning last time as Sobek was making his escape from the black site. So let's say it's a little bit before midday as you go there. There's tourists around, somewhat lessened in number, probably because of the unrest in the city. But there's people trekking on the hill on the cape, mostly going up there to see, the remnants of the construction up there. But the captain leads you around, and it is not a place where paths go. He leads you kind of all the way around the cape to where the sea meets the land here, and there's a crack in the stony facade that descends into the water that you make your way to. It's not that easy to clamber there, as there's no path, like I said, and it's a fairly steep stone slide down into the water. But you make your way eventually, and there's a crack in the facade which you squeeze into after the captain, and there's a small crevice in there, and it's barely enough for the three of you to inhabit at the same time. Of course, being at basically the edge of the sea, it's not really the most well-preserved area from the elements, I mean. And there's an old wooden crate chest there in the crevice. It's a very small cave, and the captain motions towards the wooden, soggy, water-logged wooden chest. He's not really said anything once you got here. He just motions at the...
Well, knowing that Sobek is more the one for sort of like words and books, etc., I'm just going to sort of look at Sobek and like give him the sort of like go ahead gesture, because chances are he'll be able to glean more from this than I will, because words are something of his speciality.
Nothing's ever bad happened from reading books, right? So I should be fine.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't exactly have a great record when it comes to opening boxes, brother.
Okay. I shall approach.
Yeah, well, it's not much of an approach as it is a shuffle, but the wooden chest is there. There's no lock on it.
Whilst he's doing that, I'm going to be with my my death sight. I'm just going to be like keeping an eye out, sort of like make sure I can see the entrance to this like crevice, this small cave. So like while he's opening it, I'm basically covering his back while he's opening the chest.
Yep. Appreciate it, John.
So
I got you, brah.
Okay.
The hinges, just you can see the rust flaking off. These won't be closing properly anymore. So you open it and it disintegrates in your grip.
I am so strong.
Inside is a treasure. You can see Portuguese golden doubloons, Spanish silver pieces of 8, a small fortune of them, in fact. You can see
useful.
A cutlass, and you can see the braid of the desert.
Apart from the braid, does any of them give me relic senses?
You don't recognize, because you don't recognize text relics. And now there are other things in the box, but we can talk about these things now if you want to.
As we go.
But you don't, neither the braid or the coins or the cutlass register as a text relic to you. So, in addition to the golden doubloons, the silver pieces of 8, the cutlass, and the braid, there are indeed what you make out to be a number of diaries, probably, that the captain kept all those centuries ago. However,
She'll steal my mind.
they are all completely ruined, soggy messes held together by some scraps of leather.
Huh.
It's been thoroughly, devastated by all these journals. These diaries have been devastated by rain, waves crashing in.
So I think sort of like coming up behind Sovek to like peer into the box and seeing that effectively these diaries have been like all but destroyed. I'm going to say, given that these books, such as they are, have been functionally destroyed by the weather, my brother, would your talents be able to summon their words back from the abyss? As I've seen you do before with other books.
Usually when I do it, the book, it doesn't exist. This sort of exists, but the words are gone.
Quick question: how big are these books?
They wouldn't be much larger than,
And you said they're crumbling and they're soggy.
Yeah, they're
breaking.
basically, if you lift the leather scraps, like mushy pieces of, well, not really mushy now, but like dried, malformed pieces of paper mass just kind of crumble.
So you're saying, my brother, that if these were physically destroyed, you would be able to summon the words back? Is that
The captain
correct?
behind you says, "Oh well, I guess that was a bad decision to leave them here, but oh well, we'll grab the braid and I'll take the sword, and we can be on our way."
I'll hand the braid to my brother. I guess I'll give the sword to, our ghost pirate.
You take the cutlass and you recognize the sechem inside it as you pick it up. It's a relic.
It is a relic. Ooh.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't give it to him.
Bear in mind that if it's not one of your relics, that curse is going to whap you upside the head.
Yeah, it's not a text relic. It has writing
When you
on
say
it.
when you say cursed, you mean like if I use it?
You don't know.
Because it's a bit, to be fair, yeah, it is very Eremite to like, oh, if you touch it, you touched it, now it's your problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I'm just going to repeat the question and say, so brother, if these were physically destroyed, you would be able to summon them back. Is that accurate?
Yes.
So I'm going to pick up like the soggy mess of these books. I'm going to have like, as best as I can, have a quick flick through the crumbling pages to see if we can make anything out. I'm guessing we can't because, as you said, they're like just soggy. They're basically paper mache.
Basically, if you just smush them, you would disintegrate.
So what my plan is with my fingers, I'm going to sort of smush them into a paste, and then I'm going to eat the paste.
Yeah. So you basically and it's like they're falling apart as well. It's like you get what you can into a ball and but you've ruined them further than
See, I get like a little twitch.
Yeah. Right. So Khufu has destroyed the remnants of the journals. Are you giving the cutlass to the captain, or are you keeping it?
Oh, I need to know what this thing is. Can I determine what kind of relic it is at all, being this close to it? I know I can't determine like that it's a scribe thingy, but can I get anything out of it?
It's a very good question.
Because when I'm actually touching it.
Quick question: given that given we know the hunter's axe is a relic that's appropriate for my particular guild, I'm going to just sort of like reach a hand out, like just like touch the sword as Sovek's holding it, and basically try and identify whether the cutlass is also a relic that's appropriate for my guild, and whether I'll be able to glean any info from it.
If you touch it, you can recognize whether or not it's your own.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be like,
nope.
I'll say this is not a relic of my guild, brother.
How would we have it?
Well, You wouldn't have it. This is the captain's stuff. The captain had all this stuff here.
Yeah, he's only got the braid because we gave it him.
Yep.
Mm.
So let's see. How much memory do you guys have?
7.
Let me just have a quick check, because I think mine's a bit lower than yours. Yeah, memory 6 for me.
I think you can remember this with those scores. The captain used this sword. It was his before you met him. He already had it when you got on board his ship. It is a regium. It's an alchemist relic.
Ugh.
It's an alchemical metal. It's an iramite metal that it's made from, which is the significant part.
I'll give it to the captain and be like, I'm only loaning you that.
That's hardly fair because it wasn't yours to loan. This is mine.
You're wrong, but I don't have the time to correct you right now. So I'm not going to.
Well,
perhaps you should. I'm going to sort of hold up a hand to interrupt and say, perhaps, brother, you should turn your attention to the summoning of the texts.
That's exactly what I'm about to do, brother.
the captain puts the sword, I guess, just puts it on the belt that he has, which is not a sword belt. It's just a regular ass belt that he puts the blade through.
As sort of like Sobek turns around to sort of like start his like summoning of the text, I'm just going to like catch Aguiar's eye, and I'll just sort of like look at the sword, and I give him like a reassuring nod, like, yep. Yeah, I know it's yours. It's fine.
He returns the nod.
Right. Is he busy? Let's get busy.
Okay, so do you need to do anything, spend anything? How does it work?
I actually don't know, because I can't remember. For some reason, I can't remember. It should have been my sheet, but it's not. What I know, I've got it. I've got enough pillars to do it. I just don't know.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
What I need to spend. I think it's 1 red and something else.
Let's see. It's ashes for ink, right? No. One moment.
No, I'd be. It's a good job I'm not a criminal investigator, because I would really be a pain to mafia bosses, wouldn't I? Yeah, we've got rid of. We've burnt all the invoices for all the illegal things we've done. I think you haven't. I think it's in my desk.
I think you'll find it right here. Okay. Yeah, you need to touch a copy of a blank medium, which we ignored last time. That's fine, but you need to get like something to put the text on.
Okay, so I can't do it here.
No, it's fine, because if you remember previously, I said I was carrying like a notebook around to note my memories in. So I'll basically, it's just like a standard notebook. I'll just take that out and hold it out to you.
You sure, brother?
I would not have offered it were I not sure, brother.
Okay, so you spend a willpower and then roll your intelligence and academics.
Oh, don't spend any pillars.
No.
Willpower, time, intelligence, academics. Do I get the +3 from spending that willpower? Is that just to use it?
I don't know.
Okay.
Activation requires it.
It's kind of important, so can I spend an additional willpower? Yeah.
I would. Yeah, sure.
I recommend. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, really.
Really. I don't think it actually came up. Okay, no. Right. Rolls these. Okay, 3. I want 3 bonus bad boys. Okay.
There you go. You recreate his journals.
There's a lot of ones there, though.
You have restored the journals of one Captain Aguiar. So, I was going to ask, how are you going to go about this? But it's very difficult because this isn't indexed. This isn't, material meant to be readily read. So I guess what we're doing is just going through the fucking thing.
Luckily, I'm just going to flip to the right page.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I think our plan is basically just to like skim through it quickly until we get to like, oh, this is roughly the time period we think when we were on the island and when we last knew we had the box and whatever.
Yeah.
Then once we get to that section, then we'll start reading it in more detail.
Yeah.
Is it in Portuguese? No, it will be Aguiar's.
Aguiar's Portuguese.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. That's the reason why he was in the area, because the Portuguese were getting kicked out of Japan. And
you've been when you've been around so long, these ghosts can be from anywhere. Yeah. Okay.
It's fine. Chances are, whatever language is in it, I could probably read it unless it was in something really bizarre.
So I'm guessing we'll sort of put it down and just both flick through it together, having a look.
Yeah. Okay. So it's scattered writings about the past lives of Khufu, Sabek, Cosmo, and of course he was there as well. So you page through these, and then you get to the bit where you start, noticing things that are relevant to your current predicament. And it mentions it there that you've landed to Rio, and preparations were made to make the box secure on board before, establishing where we could bring it on, the ground. And there's descriptions of things there, but to condense it down, Aguiar describes how you arrived in Rio and you were met by the Red Sparrow, as you've since come to learn is the way of things. The Red Sparrow meets people who come to Rio, and then you establish a concord. And you did. You came to Rio with this box that Aguiar describes as a golden, a modest size chest, which matches with your own memories. And Aguiar establishes that very early on that it's a relic of this long lost place called Irem. And he apparently was in on it quite well, because he's got some details that you guys don't have here. And it's not just about like where we put it. Aguiar seems to have known at the time what this thing was. And he's got scattered information which you put together as you go through it. And you come away with with some quite steep understanding of what this thing is. So Aguiar seems to indicate that the three, as he calls them, i.e. you, two, and Cosmo, have let him know, and certain others on board, which Aguiar suspects are your sort of henchmen or mercenaries. This relic has been made in Irem by one of the leaders of a rebellion that shook that city in ancient times. And it is called, and I think he has like anecdotes there. It's like, and they told me not to write this down. It is called the Blasphemous Depiction. And it has great powers over life and death. And it allows the manipulation of bodies and spirits to an extent that apparently goes beyond the greatest blasphemous necromancies. This is, of course, him commenting on this because he's not really down with the Eremite sorcery. It goes beyond the greatest of blasphemous necromancies called on by the death priests, which I am given to understand one of the three is. And the blasphemous depiction is called such, apparently, because it depicts the countenance of, and they told me never to write this thing especially anywhere, in parentheses.
Even though, right, this is helping us, right?
Mhm.
Like, there's a little part of me that's annoyed that he has explicitly gone against what we've told him to do.
Yep.
There's like a part of me, just even though we need this is helping us, but I'm like,
To be fair, though,
Oh.
even though he did write it down, he did stash it in a place where it was like completely destroyed and like unreadable.
unintentionally, John. Sorry,
Well,
cough.
yeah, how do we know it was unintentional? I mean, let's face it, he would have known that like stashing something in like a wooden box in like a leaky ass coastal cave wouldn't be good for the diaries. So he may have done it deliberately. Because did you notice he was a bit too cavalier when he was like, oh yeah, my diaries have been keeping for like hundreds of years. Oh, they've been destroyed. Oh, never mind. He's a bit too cavalier with that for my liking. But to be fair, he didn't know that we were going to be like, oh yeah, your diaries have been destroyed bad times. Let us summon the text from the very abyss.
He did not know that you could do that because he learned that later. So he says in the text that the blasphemous depiction is called this because allegedly it depicts the countenance, and he adds stuff on here by which I'm given to understand the face. But how would such a thing have a face? And then parentheses close. The countenance of something called the final judge, Arem Abfu. I'll put that in chat.
One of the judges of a rem.
One of the 42 judges.
Oh boy.
It's not a new name to you at all. It's
no.
It's entirely a part of your cosmology.
Something mentions the judges by their actual name.
Yeah. No, that's this.
Bad times.
Yeah, and he said he was told not to write this down, but he says so. It supposedly depicts the countenance of Aram Abfu, called the final judge, and it apparently carries some kind of tremendous curse, which is inflicted on anyone who sees said countenance of the final judge. And then he adds on his own speculation, and this is why I think it's always kept in this box. Maybe the box has certain qualities, I do not know, but they have never taken it out that I have seen.
Do you think, brother, that's why we can't remember it properly, because the curse kind of obscures the memory of it?
It is entirely possible, my brother. I am not sure. It may have been deliberate obfuscation on our part. It may be an effect of the curse.
If I think on past events now, can I remember them more clearly?
No.
Okay.
This is all you have. It's not connecting to anything at all, which has happened previously with some of the things. You see something that triggers a memory. Oh, I recall this. It's not connecting to anything.
However, given that it is closely aligned with death and necromancy from Agiar's writings, and now we know its name and more of it, I begin to wonder whether I would be able to track this in the same way I did the lion's jaw.
Maybe.
Since before we only knew of the box and not what it contained. And it is not the box that we are trying to track, seemingly. It is the item that lies within. But pray continue. Let us continue reading.
But wait.
Mm-hmm. This is the whole thing. You like parsing this information and piecing things together. So it's like a whole montage. So he writes about your arrival to Rio. So Khufu, Sabek, and Cosmo, the three, as he calls you. You arrived in Rio with him, and you established the remnants of your cult in the city's periphery, having made deals with the Red Sparrow for that. And Agiar describes that your number one priority, you're very, very focused on the depiction in the golden chest. And immediately preparations were started to address this by some unholy methods that he is unable to understand. But apparently the three have made deals with the Red Sparrow and Amun Ruby of something called the First Merit to address the problem of this accursed thing. And it describes many dealings and situations where Amun Ruby and Khufu were studying the mountains, and he has added again his own commentary, like someone called them the fountains of Maat. I do not know what this is. And this is apparently because Amun-Ruby was the foremost scholar of the secret power of the mountains. So Khufu and Amun-Ruby were doing this, and at the same time, the Red Sparrow, Sobek, and Cosmot studied the flow of power from the mountains into the area. And together with Amun-Ruby and Khufu, all of these individuals devised some kind of no doubt unholy ritual to hide the relic from the world and everyone in it. And this is the part that gets really juicy, because once again, it's Aguiar saying, I have been forbidden to write of any of this, but damn them all to hell. And if they forget all about this, what do I care? I am a man of God. I will not be forever led to the slaughter by these devils.
Yep.
Even though pleasant devils they may be, they yet devils remain. And he describes I and certain others trusted by the three and their allies, Amun-Ruby and the Red Sparrow, were bidden to take the golden chest to a sinkhole karst cavern on the Isla Grande. And there at the prepared site, we left it. And all the devils conducted their ritual on Mount Corcovado with the power of the fountain that springs there. And then it stops talking about this stuff, and then we are engaged in wonderful acts of piracy and privateering in the Caribbean with the three. I am having the time of my life with my esteemed patrons of exceedingly esoteric nature. I have come to enjoy their company, though I am doubting their ultimate motives, etc., etc. But it starts talking about your period in the Caribbean afterwards. It's a rather hard cut from where he's talking about, and then the devils conducted their ritual on the mountain.
So, sort of lowering my voice a little bit and slipping into Aramite, standing next to Sobek, I very quietly say, it would seem to me, my brother, that our course is obvious. We should travel to this sinkhole on the Isla Grande. Certainly, reaching a cavern below the ground would be no difficulty for me.
Not for you, brother, no.
And with your knowledge and your ability to unravel magical workings, if there are any lingering effects of this ritual, I suggest that we remove them. We locate the item in question, and then we destroy it.
How do we destroy it, brother? That's the question I wish I knew the answer to.
I have 3 possible suggestions, none of which I believe you will be overly fond of.
I'll mention, just to bring it up, last time you were in a memory, the presence, now identifying itself as Senakti, was talking about having to destroy the relic.
Yep.
So presumably there's a plan there as well.
Everything we found out about it leads me to believe that, yes, that makes sense. So I'm going to say to Sobek, my 3 ideas are as follows. First, you are aware that travelling through the earth is no more difficult for me than walking through air.
I've seen it.
If we all know that there is a molten heart that beats at the core of this world, which I believe would probably be sufficient to, even if it does not destroy this item, to certainly make it very difficult for others to obtain. If my first suggestion is that we locate the box containing the item, I sink down as far as I need to into the earth, and when I come into contact with the molten heart of this world, I plunge the box and the item into it, relying on nature itself to destroy the thing. The second suggestion is that when we find it, one of us absorbs and devours the Sekhem from the item, destroying it. What effect this will have on the person who does that is unknown. It may be necessary to then deal with that person afterwards, if you understand my meaning.
You both do remember from your memories here that previously you thought that was not an option because you don't know what would happen because you're afraid of the immense curse that apparently this item has. So it's been deemed too dangerous before.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying none of these options are good, but it's like what I've got.
Yeah.
The third option is that we, and again I believe this is possibly the worst of the three, is that we attempt to take this item to the judges in Duat, which I know we have discussed is potentially dangerous and is not an option to be taken lightly. The only other suggestion I have beyond these three, and I sort of smile a bit as I'm like, oh, three suggestions, the three of us, it seems sort of appropriate. I say the only other possible alternative is we attempt to commune with the presence and divine what its original plan was for the artifact once it has been located. Those are the paths that I can see laid out in front of us that we can potentially walk. All of them are dangerous and potentially deadly.
Oh God!
But leaving this item in the world is far more deadly.
I've got another idea.
Pray tell, brother.
Well, you know me.
Yes, I do.
I'm a man of. I believe in a form of justice. Not what the mortals would probably understand as. There is some, perhaps a sacrifice, and very much an RM thing to do.
I am acquainted with the practice of sacrificial offerings, my brother. Pray continue.
Yeah. Perhaps we should give Kazmut, capital B Kazmut, the opportunity for the redemption he seeks. If he consumes the Sekhem from it, then at least we can deal with whatever happens. And if it destroys him, then at least he has his peace.
I do not believe Kazmut would be, much as it is a good suggestion in theory, my brother, I do not believe that Kazmut would be amenable to that, since he has made it very clear his wish to divorce himself from the natural ways of our kind.
Indeed, but this is he talked about wanting to do good. He wanted to make a difference. This will remove it from the world.
However, he also spoke of his desire to continue his existence, which may be put in danger by your plan. After all, has not everything he has done in recent years been designed to prolong his own existence and not return to Duat?
But consuming this would prolong his life, would it not? In theory.
It would depend entirely on the curse, and as we all know, we do not know how much he remembers about this, but he would certainly no doubt remember that it is an extremely powerful artifact, and the chance of it carrying a sufficiently powerful curse is equally likely, so I do not believe he would be tempted by this offer.
You know that the presence said that it had apparently contacted Kazmut as well, and Kazmut was not interested in helping.
Fair enough. Very well. It was an idea.
I suggest
had a sense of destiny about it.
I suggest, my brother, that if we do decide to go with the option of absorbing the Sekhem of the of the item, of the depiction, that I be the one to do that, since I am more used to handling death energies than yourself, and I'm also far closer to death already than you are.
That makes sense, but as you can imagine,
It,
doesn't
it is
fill me
a
with...
it is a rational transaction. It is not
It
something I
is.
would relish myself, and hopefully the presence can, if we consult it, can provide us with a different option. But if it does come down to that, I would suggest that I be the one to undertake that action.
You could feed it to an MCAT.
You
Well,
literally could. They eat second.
If that is the case, then I would rely on you, brother, to do what needs to be done.
If we feed it
No.
to an MCAT, though,
Would it be good to give the power to an AMCAT though? Is the
No.
I
question.
feel like we'd create Godzilla. Like it would just, be a city block.
I would rather avoid that if at all possible. We have seen how large these creatures can go when they feast on a boundless source of
Compels me
dead wind.
though. You know what I mean? Like part of me just wants to see what would happen. Oh boy.
As you have previously said, the judges look dimly on any form of concourse with the AMCAT.
That's true.
I'm not entirely sure what their view would be on powering one of them up with an ancient artifact that depicts one of the judges. However, I think I can safely say it would not be pleasant.
It might have some consequences.
Indeed.
What if we got a bunch of mummies to drain it at the same time?
You
That
can't
less
share
of-
it. You can't share it. It's only
Okay.
It's all or nothing, mate.
yeah. It's one eats it and that's it.
Okay.
So I suggest that first of all we attempt to commune with the presence and see what its plan was for the box.
Okay. I'll mentally shout his name out. Bong.
So as you've been talking, because these are quite, I suppose, weighty things that we have now on the table here. Have you been keeping an eye on the captain at all?
Yeah, I was stood pretty much next to him, so.
Yeah.
And I had my dead
He's
sight on.
he's sort of inched his way towards the exit,
It's
you
fine.
know, on the down low.
That's fine. I'm not going to stop him if he's like,
Yeah.
I want out. He's done his bit. I'm not going to stop him.
Yeah. And
I'll probably like again give him like a nod so he knows I've
Yeah.
seen what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to stop him.
as he clocks you clocking him and giving him the nod, Sobek never sees him leave, but he's gone.
It's fine.
Um,
It's not like I can't summon him again if we need him.
yeah, there's that, and that's something that he regrets.
And also I'm like, if we're about to like detonate this like spiritual nuke, like if he doesn't want to be in the area, that's entirely reasonable.
All the options on the table are bad. All of
Yes.
them. They're all bad.
That is
Yeah,
correct, my
which
brother.
is entirely the reason why you did any of this in the first place
We're in the world of darkness. It's great.
in the
It's
19th century.
So what I'm going to suggest we do, in a sort of like montage, is we like return to the tomb because that's where we've been contacted with the presence before, near the memory wall and whatever.
Yep.
I'm going to suggest we meditate on this. We try and contact the presence, see if it has any suggestions as to like what it wanted to do with the box,
Yep.
and then
So
if it doesn't have any better suggestions, we can proceed with one of our three
Will
like
that
dank
refill our
plans.
pillars at the same time as we meditate?
do you spend a day there?
Oh,
I'm already on full sun, so I'm good.
I'm like half, so I could use a bit of time to.
In which case, what we'll do is we'll spend a day there. Sobek can spend the day like meditating. Since I sort of like I've been taught like the basics of how to like use the internet, and I've got the phone off occult. I'm
Can you use
gonna
the braid to help us? Or
well,
the braid not?
I don't think so. No, I'm gonna spend the whilst Sobek's getting his like power up on, I'm gonna spend that time sort of finding out as much as I can about the area where this sinkhole is supposed to be. Just like basic information,
Yep. Let me
like the
see if I
layout
have
and
it.
whatnot, like Google Maps or whatever.
Yeah, it is on. That's what I've been doing as well. So let's see if I prepared a picture for this. If I did, it would have been a bit. Okay, we don't have Isla Grande, which is partially because it's not really a place that is in great use, partially a reason for picking it, because it's a bit off the, it's entirely off the map here as well. It's way off to the, if you go to the lower left, it's still off into the sort of southwest still. But it is, no, is it, am I talking out of my ass? Let me just quickly, I prepared all this some time ago. There we go. Isla Grande. Yeah, indeed. So it is, in fact, quite a bit more to the west, a little bit to the southwest, but there is a large island appropriately called Isla Grande. And it is quite, unsettled. There's a couple of places on it, and some establishments for tourism purposes, nature tourism, hiking, trekking, active stuff. But for the most part, it's not really populated as such. And you can find all the information you want. You just type in Isla Grande, Rio, you get all the layout on it. Now, they don't really have like ancient Eremite ritual chamber with ancient relic on the map there, but you have all you need to start finding the thing out once you're there on location. And because again, even though you have the restored diaries of Captain Aguiar, you don't remember any of this. It's just what the thing tells you. Apparently you prepared this thing because that's what the diary said. You have no idea where it is though. So you know where the island is, and you know the general layout of it. You know how to get there. It's not going to be a problem.
Okay, so I think once we've communicated with the presence, the general plan is we go to the island, we get Sobek to use his god sight and all of his funky vision modes to basically see if he can locate the mystical imprint of whatever ritual has been done to hide it. If he can locate that, then we'll see if he can cancel it out. Hopefully then we'll be able to sense the artifact, we can locate it, and we can do whatever we decide to do with it.
Yep. So in the tomb, with the use of the memory wall, Sobek is meditating. Both of you are overtaken once again by a fugue state, and you meet the rolling mist of London once again. And the mists swirl and then slow and then freeze in the air. And you hear the mind voice once again. Have you acquired more information on the location where this relic is?
Indeed. We believe we know where it resides, and we now know the name of it. Our current discussion focuses on if we can procure it, what would be the best method of destroying it. Do you have anything to say on that?
Yes. It is powerful and must be destroyed in the proper manner. And as luck would have it, here in Rio, we have tremendous power in the form of the fountains of Mat. I wish for you to work with me on this. I have the methods of its disposal, taking advantage of the fountains and the power within them. It must be destroyed close enough to the fountains, and we will absorb the effects of its destruction so as to spare others and spare the world.
And I presume, do we know what he's referring to when he says the fountains of Mat?
No. Yes. The fountains of Mat are it's Corcovado, where apparently you performed the ritual there. That's where the Cristo Redentor statue is.
Yeah.
And The other one is Bao de Azúcar, the Sugarloaf Mountain.
Yeah.
So those are the fountains of Maat, and Sobek has used the other one, and he has secured the rights for you to drink from the fountain, so to say, next time it springs.
In which case, I suggest we attempt to, as soon as we're able, we attempt to locate the artifact, and we then rendezvous with you at one of the fountains.
I would join you if you are amenable in retrieving the artifact. After all, we do not know what has crept up in the long centuries.
You
since
can
it was
join us
lost.
there.
If you will advise me of the location, I will join you.
Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to not give the presence like the location of the artifact, because I still don't entirely trust it. I'm going to give it a location to basically say, "Oh, meet us here," and then we'll journey together to where it is.
Yeah. Okay.
And it'll just be
Where
some
do you
random
meet up?
location where where like nearby, probably near our tomb.
Just
we can meet
before
them.
you do join us, if you're one of the guilds, could you let us know of which you are?
Yes. Is the answer to your question.
Please
Yeah.
do so then.
Says, I am one of the father of the idols, which you know to be the architects.
Okay. It's just so that when you approach, we acknowledge the Sekhem and do not think it's something else.
A wise precaution, though, I would have announced myself.
To avoid misunderstanding, it's usually best to have
Of
these
course.
protocols in place.
Of course.
Yeah. Give them the deets.
Right. Okay, so you probably arrange then to meet somewhere near a tomb and then journey from there to a boat. Unless you guys want to swim or walk.
I'm just
A
going
lot
to
of
say
water.
this now, out of character, just to say this out loud while John's away, is I've played a lot of Cthulhu, and since I began role playing, and the thought has struck me all of a sudden that we put a lot of effort into hiding this thing.
You did a lot over
And,
the centuries.
What if the guy we're bringing is not on the level? You know what I mean? Like, what if it's a big bad? But too late now. Let's just hope he's legit or she's legit or I just suddenly had a thought there. Oh yeah, where we hold cards now. We hold the information for a change.
Okay, yeah. So I think the plan's to Sobek to get his meditation on, get his pillars up. Then we'll arrange to meet up with the presence and travel on to the sinkhole.
Yep.
I'm hardcore recharging. Supercharge.
So are you taking a boat to Ilagrand, or are you swimming or walking under the ocean?
No, I think we'll take a boat.
Don't unfortunately have an affinity that lets me walk on water. So it looks like I'm going to have to use mundane
No, but we
transport.
don't breathe, so we could walk underwater.
Have to talk to each other though.
Yeah, that is true. It's harder to communicate that way. So
You mean you've not mastered speaking Atlantean?
I'm very busy risen, okay? Got a lot on. A lot of books to read.
a lot of meetings to attend.
Yeah. A lot of things to schedule in.
Yeah, so that reading I'm doing, not attending like Moloch festivals.
Yeah.
Oh.
Moloch Festival 2016.
I'm going to let the cult. I'm not going to tell the cult exactly what we're doing, but I'm going to.
Well, on that topic, well, you ring up the cult, there's no answer.
I was going to say they've scattered, mate.
The headquarters looted, raided by who knows who.
Oh.
You haven't seen anyone. No one's in the
They'll
tomb.
be
No
back.
one's in the vicinity.
I have a feeling they'll be back.
You know that some of them already, way before you guys went into a death cycle, had gone down round because you told him to prepare for this, and now it has happened. So they're gone for now.
Yeah, I think the plan's basically to like meet up with the presence, go to the coast, find like a local with a boat, give them some cash, be like, take us here, and then we can head to the sinkhole.
Yep. Sorry, I'm fixing a mistake. Okay, that's that. Go, okay. No, there we go. So, Sobek, you can roll your geometry plus, what was it, John, when you meditate?
I believe it's your. Let me just have a look. 'Cause I've got it written down somewhere. It's your memory plus 5 for the tomb's geometry, and you can spend a willpower to get an extra 3 if you want.
So, make your roll, and then we can jump on the boat.
Okay, so what do I need to make just to confirm?
So it's your memory plus 5 because we're in the tomb, and then that's your dice pool. Then if you want to, you can spend a willpower point to get another 3 dice.
Okay. So it has to be a manual roll, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And basically, each success you get gets you 1 pillar back.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna go with it. Oh boy, do I get to reroll 10s?
Yeah.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Okay, 9 pillars is what you get back.
Well, there's another 10 there.
Yes, it is. I was just predicting its result.
I'm going for that. What's gonna work? Because you know.
Are you gonna keep rolling 10s?
Unfortunate. Nah. Okay.
Okay, 9 pillars.
Alright. Well, that just.
Which I guess that's gonna be like the title card. 9
I don't think
pillars.
I've spent 9 pillars in the entire game.
I'll say that's what I did last time. I was like, I've only got a few left.
Yep.
Yeah,
The fact that you guys spent the maximum amount on geometry is tasty.
Yeah.
It's done good.
There's a reason why when I was dying, I was like, take my body back to the tomb.
I did it, man. I sent you back.
I know, man. That's why I wanted to wake up there, because I was like, I need to power up as soon as I wake up.
Yeah. Need to put the sort of Mickey Mouse Band-Aid on.
So I'm good to go, I think.
Okay. Good stuff. So you've arranged to meet where?
We'll arrange to meet the presence at the coast, where we're hoping to get a boat.
Yeah, the boat.
To go across.
So you get there, and it's. What time did you arrange the meeting? Because you can determine that. So
I'd probably say sort of like late afternoon.
Okay. Yep. So late afternoon on the coast. You've already arranged for the boat. It's a fairly simple affair with a motor in the back, maybe 5 people comfortably on board, and you feel Sekhem approaching.
Yeah, we're expecting that, so we won't go into like DEFCON 1.
It's just stone golem mode activated. So you are met by Senocti. So Senocti walks there, dressed for all the world as a sort of like more muted, a little bit toned down sort of carnival dancer. It's not as colorful. There's no feathers flying all over the place, but she's got very fancy gear going, and a lot of jewelry, as it shows in the picture as well.
I know
And,
this is probably unlikely, but do I recognize this person?
No,
Okay, it's
no idea.
interesting. It's one of the things that when you're in Arisen, you meet a lot of other Arisen, but you don't know if you've met them before because you can't remember.
That's entirely it.
Yeah.
You could always summon up your journal and have a quick look through, seeing if she's mentioned.
No, I don't want to eat. I've already eaten. Fine.
So,
Good.
Senakti walks up to you, and she's wearing, I guess, a bit of like a shawl on top as well, as to sort of like act as a jacket. And she bows her head, jewelry sort of glittering in the afternoon sun, and says, "Well met, brothers.
Well met.
I have known you for a long time. Alas, you have not known me for very long, but we are joined finally at this crucial hour."
I'm not sure what I expected, but it is good to finally see you for the first time. What the questions in my voice?
We have procured transport to the location and I indicate the boat.
Let us be on our way.
Indeed.
On the boat we go.
Yep.
To Isla Grande. It's a bit of a trek around the island. It doesn't have a lot of vegetation all over the place. It's kind of rocky, in fact. With Khufu's legwork, you have some guesses as to where to start. And eventually with Sobek having Godside as well.
I'll have my my death sight on as well, because they're like, oh, it's like mad, like necromantic energy. So
you it doesn't take very long once you start combing through the place, but it does take you a bit to trek to the location where you wanted to start. You do find with your god sight and Senakti's assistance as well, she's got her own stuff going, you manage to pinpoint certain features which you think are quite auspicious, and following these sort of landmarks, you do find this sinkhole. And going down the sinkhole, there is indeed a cavern of low pools of water, and sort of it's lit half the way through because the sinkhole lets light in, and then that light gets reflected from the sinkhole further into the cavern. So it's kind of half lit all the way through. And inside you see, let's get my notes here. So you see what is blatantly some kind of a shrine constructed from the rock around the island. It is, the central piece is an altar of some kind. And on top of the altar is a golden chest that glitters faintly in the half light of the cavern. And around this altar are several columns. And as you view these columns, you note that they are inscribed with Eremite invocations, as you probably expected. This is blatantly a site of great preparation, magical, work. But you know that the actual rite that took out the memory of this thing was conducted elsewhere. It was on one of the mountains, the Fountains of Duat. But this is where the thing is. It's right there.
Brother, does your sight reveal the magic that shields this item? And can you unweave it?
Sobek, do you want to use your gut sight?
I'll unmute myself. That helps. I
That
can't use
helps.
God sight.
It does.
And yeah, I think I've got to spend a. I think I have to roll for this.
Yeah, this is the one you roll for. So 1 willpower and wits and occult.
Okay. Do I have a minus for this by any chance?
No.
No. Okay. Hold on to your butts, guys. Um,
Okay.
okay,
You
my
determine
luck's
there's
holding
no
so far.
Roger, John. You conclude there's not an ongoing effect here at all. It's not protected as much as it apparently is just forgotten.
I'm going to reach down and just pick up like a pebble or a rock or something like that. And I'm just going to like throw it into the area bounded by the pillars just to make sure there's no like eremite lightning that crackles and like fries it like a force field.
Yeah. No. It lands. There's an echo in the cavern. And
Now-
Senocti says, I think we might have access to it. I don't think this place will hold us back.
I think it would look like the design was to obscure its location, not protect it once someone turns up.
Does
Yeah,
the
you know now because of your god side. Sorry, John. There's nothing going on. Like it's not being actively hidden. So you would guess then that if something was done, it was just at that point it was removed from, as the text was describing, as like scouring the memory of the thing from the world. It's not actively destroying the memory, it just deleted the memory at the time.
does the box look as we remember it?
Exactly as you note the small dents and all the
Yeah.
details over the years that have been accumulated on it. And you do sense with your god sight there's something in the box, but
Oh, yeah.
you can't see it, so it's not that.
Okay, I'm just going to give Sobek a nod, and then I'm just going to walk through the pillars, just basically see what happens, and see if I can actually pick up the box.
Yep. You walk there. You put your hands on the golden box somewhat tentatively because we don't exactly know.
I remember what happened last time with this.
So you take the box, you give it a slight lift. It feels weighty, as it would, but there's nothing that happens as you hold the box in your hands.
So I'm going to take the box of like again. I'm sort of holding it quite sort of like tentatively, like you say, like almost like I'm holding like an unexploded bomb.
So,
And I'm not holding it at arm's length, but I'm holding it like that with the idea that like if something did go off, I could go like that and like at least shield the other two from it. Like someone like throwing this over on a grenade. I'm going to walk back over to those two, like holding the box sort of like near my chest.
yeah, Senocti nods as you approach, and says to Sobek, because you're. I presume you're being careful.
Also, just in case Synopti does like try and like double cross us and like yoink it, my plan is just to like sink down into like the ground immediately,
It's
holding
just
it.
like whoop, dodge.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So now Senocti is watching you walk gingerly with the box and nods at you and says to Sobek, "I'm not sensing any higher working here. I think if we did, given your talents and my own, even if there was such a thing,
We
we would be able to undo it. But we do not need to. We are, I believe, the excitement is upon us, Sobek. It is finally within our grasp here. Khufu is unimpeded in his progress, as he is.
Now, just to check, as they're sort of talking about this, now previously they've been like, oh, we can't take this to like Duat because it's all like corruptive and whatever. And I'm like, so we can't take it to Duat because it might corrupt the spirit world, but we're going to destroy it near like a fountain of like Deadwin. I'm just like, thinking like in my mind, like, won't it like just corrupt the fountain? and like make it all like. I mean, if it's going to corrupt the whole like spirit world, like corrupted like a fountain shouldn't be no thing.
The thing that has held you back from taking it to Duat is because your conception apparently, because you don't remember now, but apparently it was the whole way through before you forgot about the thing ever existing, was that it was so unwholesome and so accursed that it would be an incredible affront to everyone in Duat, including the judges, Azar, everyone. This would be like bringing, the like basically like a rotten, animal head to a king's court as a gift. Like, oh, this is for you. It's been one of those cases where it's like, we can't take this because this is too awful to take.
In which case, I'll say, let us travel to one of the fountains and destroy this. But my plan is basically going to be, if I even get like a slight inkling, like this thing's about to like go off, or like Senocti's going to try and like yoink it, my plan will be to like stone armor up and then sink into the ground, like holding it, so I can at least like whatever's happening can be like contained.
Ground it.
Yeah, basically.
Literally ground it. Okay, so in the interest of time here, and I think because 3 mummies, one of which is of unknown power currently to us. There's not that can impede your progress. There's not a lot that can impede you, indeed. So
I think it's going to go badly for anyone if they try it.
Yeah, currently that is very true. So let me know if you want to do anything, but we can just jump on to. Do you go to Sugarloaf? Corcovado has been capped with Cristo Redentor, so that fountain is kind of not available as such because it's being used by the statue to do other things, but the Sugarloaf is still in its quote-unquote natural state.
I'll be sort of led by Senacti when it comes to that, because she's the one who has the plan with that. But as we're sort of going, I'll be trying to like tease some more particulars about the plan to her, because it's all been quite vague. Are we going to destroy it? So like, 1, how are we going to destroy it? 2, you said, we're all going to like absorb the curse to like prevent the effects bleeding out. How are we going to do that? So I'm just going to be trying to like gain like a few extra details as we're traveling,
So Senocti has mentioned, as we go the travel montage, Senocti has mentioned that she has prepared several things over a sizable amount of time for this particular purpose. She has been looking for this unsuccessfully, but she has worked on the eventual solution for when this thing is found and can be actually accessed. She has prepared what she describes as a kind of sort of grounding device, by which she means a sort of network of geomantic absorber sites, so that we can take the relic to the fountain and destroy it there. Just break it, not to absorb the sechem yourselves, but break it there, and the fountain will channel the resulting emanation of power from it and ground it into this sort of network of sinks, I guess. Sort of a place to ground the lightning strike of the relic breaking.
Given what we sort of like know about like relic energies and stuff like that, and what I know about spiritual energy, does that sound like it's a legit plan that might actually work?
This sounds like the kind of architectural landscape bullshit that you don't really understand, but you know that architects are all about this kind of thing. You don't know the workings at all, but this does sound like the kind of thing, because you know that the architects over the years, one of their biggest thing is basically urban planning. So they would make basically like zoning plans. So like, we build this neighborhood like this so that it will cause this effect. Okay. That's kind of their thing. So this does sound, familiar-ish, but again, it's their guild mysteries, which neither of you really understand.
Okay, yeah. So I think we travel to the fountain as discussed, make the preparations.
As
That's
we're
fine.
talking, sorry, let me interrupt there, John.
That's fine.
Can I get an idea of how personal this thing is to this architect?
If you want to roll, yeah.
Just like, is this more than just? This is more than just getting rid of something bad. There's something like a personal stake.
So-
to them,
Something on the line here.
I've got to admit, I'm
Yeah.
concerned with the fact that like I'm entirely willing to buy that an artifact can make like this geomantic nodes to like disperse the power, but I'm like, what if like you're not dispersing it, you're like channeling it into some working of your own
Yeah.
to like power it up? That's my concern.
So would that be
So-
manipulation or?
Yeah, manipulation, I think, and then socialize? Question mark.
Could go. I was going to go persuasion, but that's just maybe politics.
This is the problem with Of Darkness games,
Yeah.
because the skills are aimed at very particular things, and then that basically means you interpret a lot of the time.
Maybe empathy. Maybe it's like I'm trying to get like it's on a personal level with them. Like there's something.
If you want to roll manipulation and empathy, that's fine.
I'll give it a shot. Let's just try. Come on. Tell me your secrets, lady. Nibs.
One success is not enough
I
to get at the
feel
heart
like me
of the
and
issue here.
Kofu are like sharing a knowing kind of look. Like
Mhm.
I don't know,
Both
man.
of you think the same
Don't-
thing,
I don't know.
but she is quite unreadable in that she seems quite affable, as she has, aside from a couple of excited moments when during the previous London memory scene where she was very urgent in like, we need to do this now because Khufu is about to go into the long death, so we need to do this, guys, right now.
He's sinister thought number 2, right? So you missed a bunch of stuff I said, John, while you were away. But what if the ritual we performed removed the memory of us interacting with her?
It's possible.
It
You know
is
what I mean?
entirely possible. Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like that would be the warning if she was a bad un. You know what I mean? And they know this because they don't have a clue.
Well, my current plan is we get there, we start doing the breaking of the artifact. If I even get like the vaguest whiff of like villainy, I'm just gonna like quickly absorb the second out of it before it finishes dispersing.
Every time we've used, any time it's been in action, it's caused mass problems.
Yeah.
As far as you know, it's only been used once, and that was with Khufu in Sarda. Yeah, because of the curse, which apparently is just looking at it gets you cursed. And
I'll see if I
horrifically
can
so.
get her talking a little bit because she has a lot of
That's an interesting point. Sorry to interrupt,
Mm.
Sobek. Obviously, in order to destroy it, presumably we're going to have to see it.
Yep.
So, like, we're going to get hit by the whammy anyway. If
Well,
just looking at it curses you.
Sometimes
captain-
it's thinking.
The captain mentioned that looking at the countenance and the general shape of it, it is a sort of like icon, I guess you would say. It's like a tablet,
You could use a mirror or something to try and gauge where it like.
or feel around,
Mhm.
not looking at it,
Not looking at
figure
it,
out if there's something on the other side and nothing on the other, and then don't look at the one with something on it.
Yeah,
Uh,
like
if
lay it
the
down
captain's-
flat, pointed at
Yeah.
with the thing
Yeah,
pointed at the ground.
yeah, or just open the thing and just take a hammer and then
Yeah.
start working on it.
I'm gonna.
Or explosives. That's a thing you have now that you didn't have in previous centuries a lot.
I'm not entirely convinced that will have the effect we wish. May destroy it. May destroy the world.
I was just planning on taking the lion's jaw to it, to be honest.
You entirely could.
Fight a relic with a relic.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. Well, this is what our plan is with our new friend. I'm just getting talking and asking about how long she's been after this thing, and and try and get, if she knows, how it became corrupted. Just see if there's, because this has got the face of a judge, right?
Mhm.
So
Supposedly.
this isn't just your average everyday relic.
No.
This has got an actual judge's face.
Yeah.
I mean, I could confirm it if I looked at it, but that's a pretty bad idea. Um, how did that happen? It didn't start out like that, I imagine. So what
And
happened to it?
you know that apparently somehow Aguiar was writing in his diaries that
Yeah.
this was created in Irem, presumably while Iranites were around. So before your time, as in like before you died, and it was created by like a rebel leader in the city when there was a rebellion.
Oh no. Oh no.
So that's
They
the
did.
background that that
They
Aguiar
didn't.
knew.
Oh, they didn't do. Oh no, no, they wouldn't have done that. My thinking suddenly is
They
every.
wouldn't have done that.
Oh
No.
no, because every time we've died, we've been shown a memory, and that
Mhm,
memory kind of has something to do what's happened. Like it kind of, like it's symbolic to what's going on, right?
mhm,
Like there's something they're trying to show us. But they'll never be like, here's the plot. It's like,
mhm,
look at this scene, right?
mhm.
What if we had that thing where we were there and we met or we spoke when we were mortals and we were destroying stuff about that tribe, right?
Mhm.
What if this is like one of the things that they tried to destroy and it was like, nah, I'm not being destroyed. I refuse to be destroyed because I'm a judge.
I mean,
Judge,
who would not
judge gonna
obey
give
the
it to you.
orders to?
Judge gonna give it to you. I don't know. That's the thing, mummy. You never really know until it's too late.
Yeah, that's the curse.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we're going to travel to the fountain. Put the chest down. When we get there, I'm basically going to open the chest with my eyes shut, reach inside, like you say, feel for like the
Mhm,
textured side of like the tablet or the
mhm,
icon or whatever it is. Then I'm going to turn it over in the chest, so like
mhm.
the visage is like pointing down to the floor. So that only then will I open my eyes,
Mhm.
and then
So
my plan is just to like whack it with the lion's
yeah,
jaw.
lion's jaw. You can get to work with it. It works as a hatchet, as we have established. So it is
I'm
in
gonna hold
fact,
on to my butt, Jurassic
yeah.
Park style.
So you've chatted with Sanakti on the way. So she has mentioned that she has been looking for this thing for a long while, but she only picked up your trace way after you had already traced your trace in the world. So she's sort of been following you around, but later she picked up
Yeah.
your trail long after you had trailed it, and she's sort of followed you here and has been looking for you.
Is this one of your relics? Does this belong to your guild?
It's it is an effigy. It is of her guild's
Right.
specific type.
That makes more sense, at least.
Yeah.
Why is it so personal to you, though? Why have you spent so long
As Khufu
working
is
with
opening
us?
the thing in the
With
background.
us, like that you'd work with a scribe, that you'd work with a, you know, death priest.
Well,
Our kind don't generally get on that well.
what wouldn't we do to dispose of this thing? She sort of is like, look at your own lives.
I'm just going to be cracking on while this discussion
Yeah,
is going on.
yeah. So uh, we watch as Khufu raises the lion's jaw,
It's nervous
and
chit chat.
against the sort of sun that is starting to sink in the horizon, the axe comes down. There's a there's an obsidian. Uh, well, it's a carved thing of an obsidian circle about the size where you could hold it like this in one hand. So a circular piece of obsidian with something on the other side and nothing on the other. So you've turned it over in the box. The axe comes up, goes down, comes up, goes down, and Khufu, um, because of something you said before, there's only really two ways that this goes. Either you eat the sekhem from it intentionally, or you destroy it. And when it's destroyed, the sekhem is no longer recoverable by you. So that's something to keep in mind if you want to go. It doesn't break at the first strike, but you know that it will. You know that you can make a dent as you give the first try.
Oh, I do like second.
Mm-hmm.
Given my, and obviously feel free to say no to this, given what we now know about the artifact, given my knowledge of like Amcat and how they absorb Sechem, and like what absorbing Sechem from like a standard relic would do for us, can I make even the vaguest guess as to what would probably happen if I like?
If you well, because you have your hand on it, you turn it around. You know that it's got 5, which is a tremendous. It's this kind of thing was only ever made by the Shaniatu of ancient Irem, as far as you know. No one else could make relics as powerful as this. This is the very top tier, most infused
Top
with
shelf bad
second
stuff.
that could be made.
Do you know what?
So-
Because I'm very undecided. I think I could go either way. So I think I'm gonna put it down to the die of fate.
Can I ask a question? May or may not affect your decision. If this is corrupted Sechem, right? If this is like like a milk that's gone bad, does my ability to remove effects? Could I remove the corruption?
No,
Okay.
no, it's inherent to it.
Right.
Oh boy.
So I'm going to hit this enter. If I get a 1 to 5, I'm going to sup it up. If I get a 6 or more, I'm just going to bring the hammer down.
Yeah. Okay.
Hammer comes down.
Hammer time.
Axe comes down. The obsidian starts to chip as your lion's jaw bites into it, and eventually it cracks the depiction straight in a straight line, and all of you feel the immediate effect of something extremely powerful releasing from it. The Sechem
Bubbling up.
bounds out from the form that it was bound in, and Khufu, you're bathed in it. It feels quite incredible, even though you're not absorbing it, but it's blasting
Yeah, it's
in your
passing
face
through
more
me.
or less.
Can I reflexively use rebuke the vizier to protect myself?
Yeah, from any effects coming your way, you can bounce things off of yourself for sure. So you
got
protect
it.
yourself.
Still got it.
And
Never left you, mate.
are you using your god sight?
I mean, it's still on. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I've still got Death Sight on.
If you wanna use your willpower, you can roll your wits and occult -5. If you want to see what's going on,
I'll
'cause
try.
things are happening. And Khufu, you can already tell in the immediate aftermath of the thing breaking, you can sense there's Amkata on the way. This is you
Yeah,
putting out the buffet.
that does not surprise me, if I'm perfectly honest.
The chances of me actually getting this is going to be unlikely, but you never know. Nope.
Nope. Okay. So Senakti is also speaking something because you use your utterance to defend yourself. Senakti is also using an utterance, and you have your god sight on as well. You can see these golden strands of Sekhem spring from the relic, like go through Khufu. Khufu is sort of impaled by these strands of golden light, and they warp around in the air. And as Senakti speaks, they shoot into the Sugarloaf Mountain, and you can see sort of these luminous veins in the ground just take in the Sekhem, and you too can feel the approach. You can hear with your godly senses the howls and hisses of approaching Amkasa from the twilight. And Senakti has finished speaking. The Sekhem has, as she said, has been grounded into the Sugarloaf Mountain. And Khufu, you're feeling quite overwhelmed by the explosion, but you've in control of your faculties. You're just shocked a bit, and the obsidian plaque has crumbled to fine dust in the box, devoid of Sekhem. It is no longer anything but ashes. And Senakti says, "Yes, now quickly," because she also senses what you sense.
Yeah.
So she's about to just head on back straight ahead. She's not looking at you to follow her at all, but she's just quickly.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
I think we get GTF out as quickly as possible.
Mhm.
Are you okay, Kufu?
I sort of I look like a little bit sort of out of it, but I just like nod, and then I sort of like put a
I'll
hand on your
support him
shoulder
if
to
need
like
be,
steady myself, and we like hurry out of the area.
Right. So, yeah, I think that might be it for us. We've broken the blasphemous depiction on Sugarloaf Mountain. Senakti has leveraged the devices that she had prepared for the event, and we flee as our friend from way earlier. Let me bring up the picture here real quick.
The MCAT.
Yeah. Our old friend, Ararapuera.
I was going to actually say, like, as we're departing out, and because I'm guessing Tanaki's ahead of us, and I'm looking at her with my god's sight, kind of just staring at her, and the thought creeps upon me that the last time I was here, MCATs were around. Someone was doing that ritual with the drugs, and me and Ib Shitter went on like a bit of a trip together, and we saw these things putting it into the mountain, and she's just done a very similar thing as putting the second into the mountain, and I'm just like, I wonder.
So there's a rip in reality as Ararapuera, pictured here.
Yeah.
Massive parrot-headed winged snake.
Quick question. So there's a rip in reality opening, right? That this MCAT's coming through. Is there any chance Sobek can just be like, there isn't a rip in reality?
I suppose you could cancel because what it's doing is it's using the Numina manifest.
Yes.
So it's manifesting from Twilight. You could, if you wanted to, send it back. It could do it again, but you could send it back now.
I was thinking just a final last bit of like sass to like flick it the victory of ease, Sobek.
He's right. I've got to do it. I've got the juice.
So you speak
Send it back.
the rebuke to Vizier, and Ararapuera is sort of giving a very high-pitched parrot shriek as it's sucked back through reality into the Twilight.
Because what I'm thinking is, if I don't know how many times Sobek can use this, but obviously we're basically waiting for like the energy to disperse, so it can't like feed on it. If Sobek can just like delay it long enough with his powers for the energy to disperse.
So Sobek, you said you're watching things happen, including the fleeing compatriots that you have. Do you want to roll a wits and occult once again for the god sight?
-5 or
minus 3.
Interesting.
You could spend a willpower.
You could spend
Dude,
a willpower.
I'm all over spending that willpower. You watch. That'll be no minus then if it's for spending willpower.
It nullifies the minuses.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
Oh, one success. Good.
That's something.
You see another sort of outline following in the footsteps of Senakti. There's
a spirit? A presence with a presence?
There's it's occluded from you. But what your god sight sees is that this is not the actual form of Senakti. There's a different body that Senakti has. This is not the actual Sahu of Senakti. Now you've sensed, Sekhem and all this, and you know that there are powers maybe to this effect, but she has some kind of magic on her that occludes her to Sahu from you. You can see a vague semblance of distortion, which to your god sight means that this is not her true form. And you contemplate this as you cast Ararapuera back into the twilight and flee with your compatriots.
So what
And
I
that's-
see, the physical form isn't her actual form.
yes, that's the impression that you get, but you don't see the true form. You only see
The
the
true
fact that
form is with us. Physically.
the true form is not visible to you.
What
The
is
true
physically there?
yeah. Senocti is here, but Senocti's true form is
Just in
hidden
case it
from
was
you
like a
by magic.
projection, like an avatar, they're projecting
No,
something.
no, it's
Okay.
physically Senocti is here, but you can't see the true form
Right,
because of
interesting.
magic. And that's the ending cutscene as we flee from Sugarloaf, casting back Amkata.
Everyone's got secrets.
That's it.
Okay, well that is, I believe, it for Curse Necropolis Rio for now. I guess season 1 is going to end there. And as we've talked, we can revisit both the setting and the characters at a later time. But yeah, that's where we'll leave it for now.
Thank you very much for running. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. This has been very fun.
Yep, it's been very fun running this. Mummy is a wonderful game of extremely weird stuff.
Indeed. Right, well, thank you again, and I will end the stream here.